You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast, and it's come across official now that Lisa Bluder and General Manager of the Indiana Fever, they're in communication. And I kind of knew this was going to come down the pike when I kind of mentioned Jeff Swartz, and he's Excel Sports Management. That's the agent for Caitlin Clark. And if he could see it, I could see it, everyone could see it. Obviously, there's a state of confusion in part. That's part of his job. I mean, he's going to get on the horn with Kathy Engelbert. It's a phone call. That's the speed dial for Swartz. And Excel Sports Management, I mean, you're managing high-profile athletes. He's at Derek Jeter. So there's nothing that he hasn't seen. And when things go a little airy, things do happen. So what do? What change do you make? You give a call, Lisa Bluder, sitting down and communicating with the Indiana GM and really just talking, what do you want to do? Now, in women's, they're not as, I would say, cutthroat or, have animosity like men where they're going to, decide we're going to go ahead and make a change or fire somebody. I mean, it's probably a situation that Lisa Bluder's communicating, saying, hey, this is the offense that we need to be in. And that is the most important, too. Somehow Lisa Bluder can communicate, these are the players we need to get, these are the players that are going to work best, and you're building the organization. Now, Christy Sides had a great opportunity at it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Now, she gets a second opportunity, and the thing about the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark right now, I think it's almost like you're looking back at Detroit. This reminds me of Detroit. Only reason I say that is because when you get so much animosity from the league, and not everyone in the league, but just a good body of the WNBA, and people are saying things, things are coming across the board, here's what you got. You got to somehow curtail that, and you got to play basketball. And Caitlin Clark's serious about playing basketball, best five-star player in the league. Now, when you start getting Lisa Bluder putting an offense in there, now you're going to get beat. See, here's the deal. Everybody's looking at her turnovers and everything. Well, those are self-inflicted because of the offense Christy Sides was running and didn't know how to get it up and how to take the pressure off. Now, moving Caitlin Clark to the combo, to the wing, folks, let me tell you, you got to think about legs. I mean, if you're pushing the ball up the court every time, you got to have legs to play these games. Now, the only thing that could really happen different that you will see is they can move her off the ball and advance her to her at half court, and she could start it from there. This is going to change everything, but let me get to the bottom line back to Lisa Bluder. You got something here where Lisa Bluder retired. And I told you guys, these high-profile coaches that coach WNBA, that coach college basketball, people say they won't leave. I'm going to tell you in a heartbeat, they'll be sprinting and running to get into WNBA because here's what you got. It's the top of the top, And the high-profile coaches like Lisa Bluder, let's be honest, coming in beyond Christy Sides, that changes the whole dynamics of the team, Because one, her experience level is higher. Players know her from a previous relationship because she's been at the dance, been in the Final Four, and she's executed and she's beat South Carolina. Folks, she's beat South Carolina. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. We are powered up for fanatics, and we are excited. You got Lisa Bluder's going to be coming on in, and they're going to transition this offense, get the transition defense. Now, as I said earlier, in the women's game, they don't try to destroy anybody, or it's not like men where we got this strong hatred and the fans want you out. We want Christy Sides to succeed. Now, here's the deal. We're going to give you the recipe for success, Christy Sides. You got to put the recipe in for success and show us that you got it. Because if you can't do that, now it's time we got to make a change. And Lisa Bluder retired abruptly. Folks, let's not kid each other. Caitlin Clark's like her daughter. Caitlin Clark is a special friendship, bond, love, emotion, and she's been feeling the pain. And the Indiana Fever, and I tell you, Jeff Swartz is like the sports agent, man, he's the top. You got Clutch, and you got Swartz. He's been around a long time, so he's seen this, and I'm telling you, that's the agent's job, to get in the fire, talk to the general manager, talk to the owner, This ain't right. We ain't where we're supposed to be. We got to make changes. Because when you're used to doing this, and you're doing it in Indiana, that's a small market. This is not New York. This is not Chicago, San Francisco, okay, LA. This is a small market. Everybody knows Caitlin Clark should be in a big market. But we're in Indiana. That's what we're going to work with. Folks, this thing can turn around. You got players who got to do their job. Boston's got to get really skilled down there because they talked about we're going to run it through Boston. Now Boston's got to show us that she can do it and she can catch an entry, have a counter move, recognize double team, and find Caitlin Clark by any means necessary on a wing. You find a wing shooter, you go back out, they kick the extra pass. That's why she's in the corner. This thing is designed strategically, and it is the way basketball is supposed to be played. You got to have that continuity. Caitlin Clark IQ is so high. Tremendously on a trajectory, very high, okay? So you got to be able to work and execute at all times, and all 5 players got to know it. Now, here's what I do know. Indiana Fever team, I salute ya. Okay, Caitlin Clark, they got your back. I saw them girls clapping and cheering for each other. So what the Indiana Fever is telling everybody, y'all handle your business on the outside. We going to keep this close knit. We got each other's back. When you see people making moves, making buckets, teammates jumping up on the bench, that means they're coming together. And that's what winning is all about, and winning championship. And that's what Caitlin Clark does. Caitlin Clark is not average, and she's not like any other player. Folks, when I talk about Caitlin Clark, I look at the game of basketball. I look at the game of strategy. I figure if I look at the New York Liberty, how do I beat the Liberty? How do I execute against the Liberty? How do I offset their defense? What weaknesses do they have? Where can we get in that back door? How can we run this play? How can we skip it? There's so many different things that Lisa Bluder can bring with the strategy. And when you get the strategy, you're trying to win every night, and everybody has a job to do. These young ladies on the Indiana Fever have been going to the press conference. I don't know why it's not working. That's not professional. Okay, when you're a pro and you're a coach, okay, you don't switch up. You don't go to effort. You tell them what they did. You could have a team meeting right in the middle of the press box. You could have easily said, hey, I need Boston to get more physical. I need to handle her job in the paint. I need Smith to start finishing some of these baskets. I need things that got to happen, okay? Because you can't ride on Caitlin Clark and then have her push to execute and then putting the pressure on her to get it done. Now, here's the deal. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We are powered up by fanatics. We love it. We're excited. We can't get wait. Lisa Bluder's coming back. She's going to have a role, carved out role, silent role. Call it what you want. Christy Sides, women not trying to fire nobody immediately. They want to give you the recipe to success. Now it's your job to execute it. Now, it's not your plan, okay? So don't get overly excited, okay, and start taking the win. It's the players that are going to get the freedom. And like I said, the spacing, folks, you want to look at the Indiana Fever, look at them before. Look at their spacing now. Look at how wide open it is. Dribble drive penetration, Boston. You get Boston and Smith in there, go high-low. You got Wheeler. Wheeler's almost pressing to be a starter. Okay, that's something you got to look at because Wheeler's showing up. So you got a lot of things that are going to kick off. They got an early morning ball game going in there, but I'm going to tell you what, when you get the general manager talking to Lisa Bluder, and Lisa Bluder's sitting around there loving basketball, just retired, you know, so you gotta really understand, you know, the Indiana Fever, Herb Simon, he's got to get in this deal, and they're trying to go to the $1 million path, but not just for when you got a $1 million path for the WNBA, but when you add Caitlin Clark, you're talking about $1 billion opportunity here. And this is what it is, folks. And they got camps to run. They got events to run. They got a lot of things. And then next year, we're going to have a couple more, probably 3. Because you got to look at this. When these first-round draft picks come in, they got to be the ambassadors. And it's nothing to say against the ladies that have played in the WNBA. It's just saying that, hey, we're going in a different direction. It wasn't the path that you had taken before. And we're just going in a different path so we can market the WNBA. And I've heard ESPN, everybody speak about the marketing. This is not important. This team was built for the Olympics. That's not our agenda. Folks, when you own a corporate enterprise business and when you have investors and you're raising money and the owners are putting the money in, you don't have to sit on a microphone on national television and saying we're not concerned about marketing. What do we do this for? To get the players more money. Now, here's the big thing, TV contract. WNBA they're talking quadruple on that TV contract. Okay, they're talking quadruple on the TV contract. They might have only been pushing it up a little bit. Game has gotten better. They might have pushed it up to double. But the national televised TV contract, if you quadruple that to $240 million, okay, now you can pay the players. This is the deal. When you start paying the players, now you're going to get better players. When you get better players, you're going to get better basketball. And you got to remember, you got 6 expansions got to roll into this. So that means we need 72 more ball players, and we may take this to a 15-man roster because once the investors come in, the next stage to take it into is let's extend the season and play more games. See, that's all rolling out. And Caitlin Clark is the first stage of it. She's not the only stage. And there are other players who are in the WNBA who are ambassadors, didn't get picked for the Olympic team. So, folks, this is bigger than it seems. And when you get there and you have to make a decision, that's where Swartz, Excel Management, saying, hey, Herb, what are we doing? Here we do it. Well, how are we running this thing? You got the Indiana Fever general managers got to step in. They got to bring Christy Sides behind closed doors and say, here's what we're doing. Okay, we're going to give you an opportunity to do this. It hasn't worked. We understand you've given it your all. But we're going to give you a little bit more coaching to coach better, to get this thing back on track. Now, in the back of everybody's mind, Lisa Bluder. Okay, that's Clayton Clark's, that's like Clayton Clark's daughter. Okay, and she's not having it. She's involved. It don't work out with Christy side. Lisa Bluder's taking the team. And depending on who they draft him, that may move also. Now, that doesn't mean Christy Sides going to be leaving the Indiana Fever organization because the Indiana Fever, they really do like Christy Sides a lot. They like what Christy Sides has done for the organization. And in women, they'll set the precedent. Even though you're stepping down as head coach, you can still be an assistant. You can still work with the women on the team, and you can still build this thing into the WNBA title because that's what the goal is to go in there, get the WNBA championship, and market this thing across the board. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Podcast. Great news. Salute to Jeff Swartz, Excel Sports Management. Got Lisa Bluder in the building. Lisa Bluder's talking to the Indiana Fever GM. Jeff Swartz and Herb Simon are getting this thing back where it should be. Great things are coming down the pike. All things are possible for those who believe. And this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. And we are powered up by fanatics, having wonderful times. We'll see you soon.